Right now, I mean, there are literally YouTube channels out there making thousands of dollars a month where a human being hasn't spoken a single word, like zero.
Yeah, it's wild. It really is.
It's crazy. Someone just, feeds a few PDFs into an AI, slaps that generated audio over some stock footage, and just watches the ad revenue roll in.
Right, but for every one of those alleged success stories, there are thousands of channels being permanently demonetized.
Exactly.
Or just completely banned overnight. We are looking at a massive digital gold rush right now, and the bodies are really starting to pile up.
So the question we're tackling today for you, the listener, is this. Can hyper-realistic AI-generated audio genuinely serve as the foundation for a legitimate, respected, and most importantly, monetizable YouTube channel? Or is this entire format just some fleeting algorithmic loophole that's going to close tomorrow? Welcome to today's deep dive. We are cracking open the exact blueprint for turning synthetic audio into a real channel and mapping out the traps that will absolutely destroy your credibility.
And honestly, it is the defining dilemma for modern digital publishers. Because the barrier to entry for producing polished conversational audio has effectively dropped to zero.
Literally zero.
Yeah, and when production costs vanish like that, the sheer volume of content just explodes. So understanding where the platforms draw the line between synthetic spam and actual editorial value, that's no longer just a neat trick. It is the ultimate survival metric for any channel today.
I always kind of look at it this way. Using these AI tools is basically like having an incredibly powerful audio equalizer.
Okay, yeah.
If your underlying source material only has like heavy distorted bass, the AI cannot magically invent this beautiful treble melody for you.
Yeah.
It just makes your distortion louder and way more articulate. You still have to bring the music.
That is a highly accurate way to look at the data processing reality here. And since we all generally know what Google's NotebookLM and similar tools do, taking documents and turning them into two-host banter across 50 different languages, we don't really need to marvel at the parlor trick anymore.
Yeah, the magic show is over.
Exactly. We need to look at the actual mechanism of how it handles information.
Right, let's totally bypass the basic stuff. The blueprint we are dissecting today highlights a really critical technical reality. These AI discussions are designed solely to reflect the source content you provide.
Yes.
They are not independent thinkers at all. The tool strictly grounds its responses in the uploaded material. But, and this is where I find a glaring tension in the whole thing, the developers explicitly warn users that the generated audio isn't objective.
Right.
And they say creators should flat out expect hallucinations and audio glitches.
And the mechanism behind that warning is so crucial to understand. The AI is not like an oracle querying the sum of all human knowledge when it speaks.
Right, they don't know everything.
Exactly. It operates strictly as a conversation layer.
Yeah.
So think of it as this highly advanced conversational interface stretched over the specific sandbox of data that you provided. When it hallucinates, it isn't usually because the AI just randomly decided to invent a lie out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's almost always because the creator provided a sparse, contradictory, or just poorly structured source pack.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. So the AI attempts to fill in the logical gaps of your bad research with statistically probable words, and that is what results in a hallucination.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second because I want to push back on that.
Sure.
If I'm setting out to build a trusted monetizable channel and I have to act as the rigorous final filter anyway to catch all these hallucinations, doesn't that completely defeat the purpose of an automated AI channel?
Well,
Like, why even use a tool that requires me to double check every single claim it makes?
because the leverage isn't in replacing your brain, right? The leverage is in replacing the recording studio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The workflow we're analyzing today proves that human editorial oversight is mandatory. It's not optional. You are trading the time you would have spent setting up microphones, doing vocal warm-ups, editing direct sounds.
Right, all the technical audio stuff.
Exactly. You're trading all of that for time spent intensely curating factual inputs. The
Yep.
risk isn't really the software itself. The risk is treating a complex synthesizer like a printing press that you can just turn on and walk away from.
Man, okay, that reframes it completely. So you are the director and the AI is the talent.
Spot on.
Well, let's say you direct them perfectly, right? You curate impeccable sources, you generate this highly accurate audio overview, and you are finally ready to hit publish. Now you face the platform itself.
The final boss.
Exactly. How does YouTube actually police synthetic audio? If an algorithm detects AI voices, does your video just immediately get thrown into some shadow banned sandbox?
Not at all. Using AI is not inherently prohibited by YouTube's infrastructure.
Really?
Yeah, but surviving their ecosystem requires dissecting their specific policies. You have to understand the difference between disclosure and what they term production assistance.
Right, looking at the internal guidance from our sources, YouTube requires creators to actively disclose meaningfully altered or synthetically generated realistic content.
Yes.
Basically, if it sounds like a real human discussing a real event, but it was generated in a server farm somewhere, you have to hit that disclosure checkbox.
You do. Yet the nuance really lies in the exceptions.
Okay.
If you use AI to brainstorm titles, write an outline, generate closed captions, or even just repair background hiss in your audio, that is all classified as standard production assistance.
So no checkbox for that.
No, you don't need to disclose that because it doesn't mislead the viewer about the fundamental nature of the reality they're consuming.
So YouTube doesn't actually care if the voice is synthetic as long as you're honest about it.
Pretty much.
What they seem to be actively hunting down, though, is synthetic effort. Like, the monetization policies outlined in our blueprint are brutal on this front. They flat out deny monetization for mass-produced or repetitive content.
And you have to consider the platform's core objective here. YouTube's primary product isn't videos, it's viewer retention and session time.
Right, keeping people on the site.
Exactly. They are fiercely protecting the viewer's dopamine loop. If a viewer clicks on a video and just gets this droning, zero-effort AI summary of a Wikipedia page layered over a static image of a galaxy, they get bored immediately and close the app.
And YouTube loses money.
Bingo. YouTube loses money. Therefore, they don't care what software rendered your audio. They care if you are flooding their servers with repetitive spam that degrades the user experience.
And that brings up a massive operational hurdle. If the AI is generating the voices and the AI is structuring the banter based on my PDFs, how do I tangibly prove to a YouTube human reviewer or even their algorithmic filters that my video isn't just mass-produced garbage?
Well, you passed the 3 tests.
Okay, let's hear that.
The framework we're evaluating today provides a definitive mechanical standard for this. If you want to build a legitimate, monetizable presence, these 3 tests are your absolute baseline.
Let's get right into them. Test number 1 is the source test. And the mandate here is that the creation process must begin with a vetted factual source pack before any audio generation is even attempted. You cannot just type a generic prompt into a box and hit go.
And the mechanics of passing this test are highly visible to the viewer. To pass the source test, your final video must physically present your evidence on screen.
Like actually showing it.
Yes, we are talking about showing the actual policy pages, highlighting the text on the original PDFs, or displaying the data tables that the AI hosts are supposedly referencing.
That makes sense.
And crucially, the script must also include limitations, like moments where the AI hosts admit they don't have the full picture based on the sources provided.
Right, because nobody has the full picture. And the fail condition here is what we see all over my recommended feed lately. Someone feeds a 1-sentence prompt into an engine, downloads the very first output, and just publishes unverifiable claims. It's just an empty shell.
Which leads us directly to the psychological hurdle, which is the viewer test.
Okay.
This test dictates that your AI conversation must resolve a viewer's problem significantly better than a plain bullet point summary would.
I really love this test because it attacks the core reason we even listen to audio content in the first place. I mean, if I just want the facts, I can skim a text article in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
I don't need 2 AI voices reading it to me slowly. The documentation stresses that a passing AI deep dive must stage a useful disagreement.
Yes, it requires engineering tension. A passing viewer test episode starts with one clear, specific conflict question.
Okay.
And then the AI hosts must disagree productively. They need to explore the trade-offs, debate the nuances, and really push back on each other's interpretations of the data.
Right, because consensus is incredibly boring. Like if host A says the sky is blue and host B says yes, it certainly is, the viewer clicks away immediately.
They're gone.
But if host A says the sky is blue and host B says, actually, based on the atmospheric data in our source pack, it's technically a violet wavelength that our eyes misinterpret well, suddenly you have a narrative.
You have tension.
Yeah, you have retention. And it has to end with a practical checklist or some kind of decision rule for the viewer to take away.
That's the key. The fail condition for the viewer test is audio that is perfectly pleasant, technically flawless, but just utterly devoid of stakes.
Right.
It's just hosts agreeing with each other while repeating broad industry hype without a single concrete example.
So then we hit the final barrier, which is the YouTube test, and this focuses purely on visual packaging and platform-native editing.
Yes.
You cannot just upload your generated MP3, slap a static wallpaper of a microphone on the screen, and call it a day.
No, because visual repetition is a major trigger for YouTube's spam filters. To pass this test, your visual package must physically evolve.
So it has to keep changing.
Constantly. The background or the framing needs to change segment by segment. You must incorporate those source back proof objects we discussed earlier.
And write the PDFs and stuff.
Exactly. Plus, you need properly formatted captions, chapter markers, and crucially, your thumbnail and the first 30 seconds of the video must completely deliver on the specific conflict you promised.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. When I look at these 3 tests, the source test, the viewer test, and the YouTube test, I just see a courtroom trial.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Right, like you can't just put your AI on the witness stand, let it ramble, and expect to win the case.
Let's take that analogy a step further then. If you are the lead attorney, the source test is basically your discovery phase. You are meticulously gathering the hard evidence and entering it into the record.
Okay, yeah.
Then the viewer test is your closing argument. You have to weave all that evidence into a narrative that actually makes the jury care about the verdict.
And the YouTube test is making sure your presentation in the courtroom uses visual aids so the jury doesn't literally fall asleep in their chairs.
Exactly.
If you skip any of those steps, you lose the case. Or, I guess in the language of the blueprint we're analyzing, you cross the red line.
Yes. The red line is the graveyard of AI channels. The blueprint defines this as the toxic combination of mass-producing generic audio, hiding behind static images, and frequently pairing that with false promises of easy income.
Oh, the get-rich-quick stuff.
Right. Or blatantly plagiarizing another creator's format.
A recent local analysis of a trending video in this space laid this out perfectly. The analysis proved there is massive, undeniable audience demand for faceless, AI-driven conversational content.
People are definitely watching it.
They are. But the analysis drew a hard boundary between the safe mechanics and the toxic behaviors.
Because the mechanical process itself is completely safe. Gathering sources, generating audio, building a timeline, exporting that is just modern publishing.
Right.
The deeply risky elements are the lazy shortcuts. Relying on unverifiable claims, pushing viewers into shady paid funnels, and, like we said, using a single static image for a 10-minute video.
Yeah, that's just bad content.
Those actions instantly destroy viewer trust, and they trigger those monetization reviews.
So we know the policies, we know the tests, and we know where the red line is. How do we actually build the channel?
This is the fun part.
Yeah. The material provides a highly rigorous 7-step practical playbook. And it begins with a fundamental mindset shift for you. Stop trying to make 100 mediocre videos.
Yes, please.
The goal of your first experiment should be to make one incredibly dense, well-researched deep dive that completely proves the format can hold an audience's attention.
It is the ultimate quality over quantity mandate. So let's break down the mechanics of this 7-step production standard.
Let's do it.
Step 1 is foundational. Build a source pack. This means gathering factual, traceable documents, real PDFs, actual policy text, verified data tables.
Okay, that makes sense. Then we get to step 2, which honestly initially caught me totally off guard.
I bet.
Step 2 says, generate a Chinese audio overview first.
Mm-hmm.
Why on earth would an English-speaking creator start by generating the audio in Chinese?
It sounds weird, but it basically acts as an intense logic and translation stress test for the AI.
Okay, how so?
Well, Chinese relies heavily on high-context linguistic structures and nuance. The methodology here is that if the AI can accurately parse the conflict, the constraints, and the factual core of your English source pack, and then translate all that into a coherent Chinese dialogue without hallucinating,
Oh, wow.
then you have proven the structural integrity of your source material.
Ah, I see. It's like running your code through a completely different operating system just to see if it breaks.
Exactly.
If it holds up in a high-context language like that, your underlying logic is basically bulletproof.
Precisely. Which brings us to step 3. Download and actively verify that Chinese audio. You just ensure the logic held up.
Right.
And once that passes, you move to step 4. You go back to the tool and generate the English audio overview from that exact same, now verified source set.
So by step 4, you actually possess 2 distinct, verified, high-quality audio tracks in 2 different languages, derived from the exact same factual foundation.
You do.
Yeah.
Now you have to package it. Step 5 mandates building one shared visual package. And the strategy specifically calls for a Market Signal Studio visual style.
Okay, let's break down what that actually means mechanically, because Market Signal Studio sounds a lot like corporate jargon.
It does sound like jargon, yeah. But it basically means treating the visual layout of your video like a Bloomberg terminal or a high-end financial news desk.
Oh, okay.
You aren't just putting up a stock photo of a desk. You are building a structured visual interface.
Right.
This involves dynamic picture-in-picture inserts that physically show the PDFs being referenced. It uses lower third text bars to highlight key takeaways, dynamic progress bars, and shifting layouts that essentially signal authority and research to the viewer.
It's visual proof of effort. You are signaling to the audience and the algorithm that real work went into this presentation.
Exactly.
So once you have that Market Signal Studio package built, step 6 is to render out 2 completely separate videos. You lay the Chinese audio over the visual package and render it with Chinese captions and metadata. Then you do the exact same thing with the English audio.
And finally, step 7. You extract companion short-form content from both versions. But again, you don't do this blindly.
Right, no random cuts.
No. You meticulously cut the shorts from the strongest moments of conflict between the hosts, the most visceral presentations of proof, and the sharpest warnings. And you use those to drive traffic back to the full-length deep dives.
So what does this all mean? The leverage in this workflow is staggering. You perform the rigorous human labor exactly once building the source pack and designing the visual layout.
Yes.
But because of the AI's translation and generation capabilities, you yield 2 completely separate high-retention videos for 2 massive global markets, plus a fleet of promotional shorts.
It is a brilliant utilization of the technology. By generating bilingual content from a single vetted source pack and a shared visual architecture, a creator scales their reach globally without scaling their effort in a spammy, repetitive way.
Exactly.
They maintain absolute editorial control while maximizing the computational power of the AI.
So if you're listening to this and mapping out your own strategy, this 7-step workflow is your holy grail. It physically forces you to perform the necessary verification.
Yeah.
It forces you to build a dynamic, platform-native visual experience. And most importantly, it forces you to treat the AI as a highly capable co-producer that you must direct, rather than just a magic ATM that you tap for cash.
And that is the ultimate realization here. We are entering an era where generating an hour of pleasant-sounding audio costs nothing and takes 10 seconds.
Yep.
Because raw information generation is now infinitely cheap. Things like curation, accuracy, and viewer trust are rapidly becoming the rarest and most valuable commodities on the internet.
Absolutely.
If you optimize your channel for trust, the algorithm will reward you. If you
Yes.
optimize purely for speed and volume, you will be filtered out.
I think that perfectly crystallizes the reality of this entire landscape. To recap our deep dive today, can AI podcasts become legitimate, respected YouTube channels? Yes, absolutely. But strictly on the condition that human editorial judgment remains the core engine. It demands vetted sources. It requires engineering productive disagreement to retain viewers. It demands dynamic visual proof, and it requires total transparency. It is an incredibly powerful new medium, but it rewards the meticulous director, not the lazy spammer.
The tools just amplify the existing skills of a rigorous researcher, and they will ruthlessly expose a sloppy one.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a slightly provocative thought to turn over in your head, something that wasn't strictly in our sources today.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've spent this entire time strategizing on how to make these synthetic hosts sound realistic, how to make them disagree intelligently, and how to use them to establish authority.
Right.
But if these AI voices continue to evolve, like if they get flawlessly empathetic, funny, and capable of teaching us highly complex topics with perfect pacing, how long will it be until audiences start forming genuine, deep, emotional, parasocial relationships with voices that don't even belong to a human being?
Wow.
And when that happens, who truly owns that connection with the audience? Is it the creator who meticulously curated the PDF sources, or is it the algorithm that generated the charm and the laughter?
That is a profound tension that the next generation of media companies will absolutely have to resolve.
It's going to be wild to watch unfold. Just remember, having an incredibly powerful audio equalizer doesn't mean you know how to write a hit song. You still have to bring the music.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and we will catch you next time.